So today we're going to look at a high precision, high range attack build with Iron Man. Looking at the stats on the right, the main thing you're going to be concerned about is obviously precision. It's going to be the only thing that affects the range stat. Proficiency might be something you want to look out for as well, because that'll help with your critical attack chance, and that's what we mainly want when we want high damage builds. So when we look at the melee piece, the main thing we're concerned about is the last perk, which increases his critical attack chance by 128.8% while overcharged. I've managed to find this perk quite a few times. It's not necessarily rare, but it is definitely one of the main skills you want. Most of the time, any perk that affects your critical attack damage or critical attack chance is a plus. Always check the perks for a piece of gear first, and then check the stats to make sure they match up with what you're looking for. This piece has 56 precision, so I mean we're good to go. Always want to look for the critical attack damage. The next piece is going to be the ranged. So the main perk here on this one that I have equipped right now is the 32.4% chance hitting an enemy with a ranged critical attack grants a damage buff. With every character you want to look out for any type of perk that grants a damage buff, because that's kind of the meta right now, is activating a damage buff to obviously help with the damage. It helps a lot. So for the sake of the highest amount of damage possible, sometimes I switch this piece with this exotic piece right here. So I believe this is from his hero set, which can be obtained, anybody's hero set gear, exotic wise, can be obtained weekly from the priority mission, but you can only right now obtain it once a week with any character. So it's only once a week that you can do it and get a guaranteed exotic. The great skill on this, however, as you can see, is the 20% increased damage while overcharged. The flat 20% increased damage, I mean, you're not going to get better than that. It's basically Iron Man's best skill perk that I've seen, one of them. You're just not going to get any better than that. So when I switch to this piece from this piece, what I'm basically doing is I activate the damage buff, and then I switch to this exotic piece, and then I overcharge myself. I'm basically stacking the damage buff with the flat 20% increased damage while overcharged. So it helps for the maximum amount of damage possible. Sometimes it's not feasible, but I mainly do it only in situations where I'm literally trying to just output the maximum amount of damage to get it done fast. So usually that's only in boss scenarios or something like that, maybe an elite squad or something like that. That's the only time I would switch between gear. Alright, so the defensive piece is pretty standard. The main skill on it, I would say, would probably be the damage buff perk as well. It has a 26.1% chance parrying an incoming attack grants a damage buff. Now, the ranged critical attack activation for the damage buff on the ranged piece, that's infinitely better than this perk right here, so we're not really focused on that. I would say the defense buff, the second perk, the 63.5% chance when critically injured to give you a damage buff, that can definitely help in a pinch. But truth be told, the main thing about this defensive piece is just the high precision stat. We're literally just in this main piece for the precision stat. That's it. Going on to the heroic. Heroic is more or less the same thing, right? It has high precision. There's not really any perk. I mean, the 3 enemies in a rapid succession, if you defeat 3 enemies in a rapid succession to grant a damage buff, yeah, I mean, again, it helps, but the best damage buff perk that we have is already on the ranged piece, so it's irrelevant at that point. The main thing we like is the precision. It's always going to be the precision. So next we're going to look at the minor artifacts, right? So the minor artifacts are really simple. They're both the same, more or less. The stats aren't exactly the same, numbers-wise, but they're the same in the respect that they're epic, and they each are a ISO that has just the precision stat attached to it. So they're literally, in fact, actually, these both have the same exact stat. So these both actually do end up being the exact same, even down to the perks. So the main thing that your ISOs, the minor artifacts, are good for, though, is just the same stat attached to an epic piece. You could get a rare piece. There's nothing wrong with getting a rare piece. Sometimes the rare piece are even stronger than the epic pieces. But if you have rare pieces, you're not going to be able to get to power level 150. That's the main thing. So that's why you want to look out for the epic pieces. Now, I will say, finding the epic minor artifacts with just one skill stat attached to it is actually a lot more difficult. I've come to realize that your best bet is to check the shield and the inhuman gear vendors every single day. They reset every 24 hours. When they reset, just go check. They sell at least one epic minor artifact every single day that has only one stat attached to it. You're just going to have to hope that it's the stat that you want, obviously. But that's how you're going to get the minor artifacts. When we're going to the major artifact, I always, for everybody, use the Sacred Norn Stone of Lethal Will. The damage buff it gives you when you activate it is just, it's insane. Especially when it stacks on top of another damage buff. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, in my opinion, you're always going to go with the Sacred Norn Stone of Lethal Will. Some builds will have you switch to the Tactagon because it increases stats. However, as you can see right here, it only affects the range stat by 20. It's not effective at all for this ranged build specifically, so I don't personally see a need to switch mid-fight, whatever you're doing. So, but that about wraps up everything about this build. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, subscribe for all types of future Marvel games, movie content. I'll end this video with another clip of this specific build in action, and I appreciate you for watching.
He wants to make everyone into a gamma zombie. You gotta stop him. He's crazy, Hulk. Don't listen to him.